Alright, the title of this video is He Who Can Do This Has the Whole World With Him. He who cannot walks a very lonely path. So what does this mean? Basically, today we're going to be talking about the one simple thing that you can start doing that will change your relationships with friends, with people, with your business, with your career, and make things tremendously better. You'll make more friends, and also you'll be able to get more business, generate more sales, have more interesting people, attract people you want in life, and so forth. So what is it? Let me start with a quote from Henry Ford. I'm sure you know the Ford company. This is what he said. If there's one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. Let me just repeat that for emphasis. If there's one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. So we're talking about incentives here, and this is something that is common sense to a certain degree, but so many people don't do it. I'll give you a great example. I'm reading this book. It's a great book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And let me just start with this little story. There's so many little stories in here that are exceptionally amazing. So basically, there's this one man, right? And he had a problem. He wanted to book these hotel ballrooms for 20 days worth of lectures. And here was the thing. All of a sudden, one day, when he sold all the tickets and everything, the hotel manager comes into him. Well, he sends a letter and he says, sorry, we're going to have to charge you 4 times what we said earlier, and so you're going to have to pay that. And so there's 2 reactions, and most people would have taken the stupid reaction. It's the natural reaction. You would have charged into this man's room and been like, how dare you do this to me, da da da, all angry and stuff. Now, what do you expect that would have accomplished? Not much. You would have pissed this guy off. You would have been pissed. You got even more pissed while you're arguing. That's kind of how it works psychologically. When you're mad, you get more mad, and you get nowhere, and you've sort of sealed the deal for it to be take it or leave it sort of thing. Instead, he did something very smart, which is he looked at things from this man's perspectives, realized that, and here's one of the key things, that all of us are very motivated by our own self-interest and what we want. So rather than saying what I want this, I want this, I want a cheaper price, he took it a new route and he said, hey, what do you want? And so he pretty much talked to this man and said, okay, you know, here are the advantages and disadvantages if you did what you did and upcharge 400% my typical rate. You know, sure, you get more money and all this stuff, but here's some of the disadvantages. You know, I'm bringing in tons and tons of clients who have businesses, and they are getting free, they're getting room and board at your place, and that will bring awareness, and you'll save money on advertising and all this other stuff, and those people will bring in more people. So this is one of those things where people forget to look at their own incentives. And this is very important for you, because you can use this not just in business or your career or finding a job. Again, if you're looking for a job, you have to start thinking of what can you provide the employer rather than what can the employer provide me. But it can also work for dating or whatever else, making friends. Not so much, I mean, it can be making friends too, but just think it through. Like, it's very useful. Let me give you another example. So this can be applied to just getting through obstacles in life as well. There's this example of how there's this huge cow, and it's in a barn. And Ralph Waldo Emerson, very rich man, he and his son are trying to get this calf into the farm. But guess what? It won't move anywhere. It's too heavy, and these guys are like, I want this thing in there. Lo and behold, his wife's a little bit smarter, and she's like, well, what does the calf want? The calf wants to suck on something or drink milk. So she uses her finger as a sort of maternal nipple, or whatever you want to call it. And lo and behold, the calf starts moving on its own as she as she drags her finger slowly and slowly towards the farm. So again, it's a very simple example, but again, these sort of things can help you tremendously. I'll give you a great example, another great example. By the way, this is a very fascinating book because all these examples, not always, but many of them are from like really, really successful people of the past. This one's from Andrew Carnegie. He was like the richest person in the world at the time. Inflation adjusted, he's probably worth like 60 to 100 billion dollars. He's a steel baron. This book really reminds me of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, just based off all the examples of very successful, rich, famous people. Andrew Carnegie. So here's another example of how this can be applied. So he's a man who started working at 2 cents per hour, then ended up donating like $365 million to charity. That was one of his primary drivers to change the world through philanthropy. But regardless, here's what happened. So one day his sister-in-law is like all pissed off because guess what? Her children are in college and they don't care to write back or respond to her. They're too busy doing their own stuff in college. And Andrew's like, okay, I'll bet you $100 that I can get them to respond. So check this out. This is a smart mother effort. He sends a letter to his nephews, and he's like, okay, so great seeing you, yada, yada, yada. And at the end of the letter, he's like, by the way, I'm attaching $5 to the letter. And he intentionally forgets to attach the $5. Lo and behold, what happens, these people, they're responding. They respond to that letter with their own letter saying, oh, it's so great to see you, Uncle Carnegie. Oh, by the way, you forgot to send the $5. So there you go. You know, if you look at it from their perspective, it starts being more crystal clear. They're in college. They're doing their own thing. They're having fun. They have incentives to do stuff. And, well, you know, they can't be bothered with responding. So Andrew Carnegie understood their perspective and then used the incentives that would entice them to get them to respond. So he came out ahead. You know, he won the $100 bet, lost $10 for his nephews, but ended up making more money. Smart man. I mean, I can go on and on. This book's chock full of examples. I'll give you one more. It's very simple. This one kid, he doesn't want to go to kindergarten, first day of kindergarten. So they start enticing him and telling him all the fun stuff and amazing stuff that you can do in kindergarten. Lo and behold, after a while, he's so excited about going to kindergarten that he doesn't even sleep. And obviously he has a fun time in kindergarten. So again, you can get the point, and I just want to finish it up with this one last thing. Like, think about it if you get a letter and it's dressed like this. Dear Mr. whatever your name is, our company wants this, this, and this. Are you really going to be that enticed by it? Or more likely, are you going to be like, who cares what your company wants? I'm worried about my own problems, the bank foreclosing, the house, the mortgage, I missed my car payment, I gotta get the laundry, I gotta do this, my friends, Mr. Jones didn't invite me out, these people didn't invite me out to this, and I got all these my own issues. So that is a very important thing to consider when you're writing emails, when you're talking to people, and I do think people underestimate how important it is. So that's what I really want to say. And this book addresses some of the arguments against this point, such as, well, what if I'm being completely selfless? And basically it answers that by saying, hey, even completely selfless acts like donating to charity, is that really selfless because you're getting some level of good feeling from the donation? And even if, let's say, you did it because you were just forced to, or you felt bad not doing it, not because you wanted a good feeling, you still did it because of a reason. And so it's a very interesting way of looking at things. Anyhow, that's all I really want to say. Hopefully you can start utilizing this. I'm still kind of, curious as to see what can this be used for that I haven't thought of. So again, if you have any feedback, leave it in comments. Like I feel like, you can use this without being immoral or manipulative in like the dating scene as well. I'm just trying to think of like what that can be. Leave it in comments if you know. Perhaps like rather than thinking, oh, I want this or I want a date, you can think, well, what can I provide or what can I bring to the table that will entice someone to want to go on a date with me? I don't know. Anyhow, thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video.